I was just sitting here thinking, why do we have to have our minds renewed? If we were created in the image of our Creator, and why do we have to have our minds renewed? In my opinion, we should have been created with the Creator's mind. So, I'm still thinking about it. But what I can say, because I work backwards, so I can say, if we have to have our mind renewed, what changed or corrupted our mind? What changed our thinking outside of thinking the way God thinks? So, still thinking. So, if we were made in the image of our Creator, but we have to renew our minds, something changed our minds. So this is what I'm saying. I know there are things that have been passed down from generation to generation, right? Including thoughts and ideas and concepts and how to think and how to process. But also you're born, your mind works a specific way for you. And they work different, for different people. So I'm thinking, okay, I see that I see socially, and being in the business I'm in, I see socially that people think different. People see things differently. But God wants our mind renewed. So then I think about it, and I go back to say, well, how's my parents? And how are your parents? The person, how do they think? Do we think like they do? And they need their minds renewed. And then go back and go back. You see what I'm saying? So I went all the way back to say, whatever it is, something has been tampering with our minds. That's my opinion. And it has caused us to think in all of these different ways. And I think that's why we need our minds renewed. So I'm trying to say, when did the tampering begin? When did that start? So I'm thinking, I kept going back, and I'm like, generations and generations and generations and generations. And then I stopped being natural. And I said, oh, it's the enemy. The enemy wants your mind, has been setting up things and dealing with your mind so it cannot be like God. Introducing things to us. Like people say, television. It tells you your vision. How we were taught in schools. Different stuff. For example, the Christopher Columbus thing. That was our history we were taught. We didn't know no better. That's what we were taught, so we went with it. A lot of things we were taught that we went with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were true, as we just found out, about Christopher Columbus. Just like I think Pluto, they took the Pluto was there, and then they decided that it wasn't a planet. So we just decided that it wasn't a planet. We just taking what we being told. I think that's what the situation is. We lost, or we never had, the ability to think for ourselves freely without something being projected to us. White House and the picket fence. Everybody didn't take that, But why is that in our heads? Why is it in mine? How do I want a White House with a picket fence? Because you can't differentiate between your innate nature of what you like and dislike compared to what you've been told to like and dislike. It's a mental thing, but it's a spiritual thing. So I'm just looking, y'all. I'm just saying. So to me, we need our minds renewed, because something has been trying to tell us how to think and how to be and how to process, and it's messed us up. And a lot of us, we don't even know that. We don't even know that we're thinking in these different ways, because we think everything that we're thinking we're right about, and we're not, including me. We aren't. But if you don't have the capacity to consider genuinely, you'll never learn anything. None of us. So I'm sure it's a lot more to that. I have a lot to say. I can talk about the mind for a long time. But I guess the biggest thing I get out of it is, well, I wanted to say, now that I have some type of thought about it, I can conclude with this. Let's take into consideration that everything we're told, I say this all the time, might not be true. And it might be true. Y'all know my spiel. But I'm just seeing everybody say things from their emotions and not from any solid information, that after you check it naturally, see if it's settled with you. And just how we go about doing things, all of us. I don't think we know that we all think in all these different ways. And I don't think we realize that we have been told how to think. I'm just saying it again. We've been told how to think. We've been told what to think. We've been told what to like. We've been told these things. It's a lot of things we like because we've seen it 1,000 times on TV. We've heard it 8 billion times in our ears. That enter in and we play it over and over again in our heads. What do I mean? There could be a song. I remember back in the day, I don't listen to the radio now, so what I mean by that is not like that. The radio is not it for me. But a song could come on the radio that I didn't like, or I didn't really take to it. But because they played it 80,000 times on the radio, I began to know the words. I began to sing it. That's your mind. A song you didn't even like became top 5 in your brain. That's major. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Y'all can consider that, you know. You may not. You may just gonna keep doing what you're doing. But my mind is precious to me. And I need to know who playing with it. That's the God part. God.